Have you ever had your entire life thrown into chaos, just because someone thought they were in charge? Well, let me tell you how one nosy HOA neighbor, who thought she ran the neighborhood, nearly caused a county-wide disaster when she decided to cut my internet line. What she didn't know was that I run emergency communications for the entire county, and her little stunt could have cost lives. I live in a quiet neighborhood just outside of town. I picked this house not just because it was peaceful, but also because it had the perfect setup for my side job. By day, I work as the county's director of emergency communications. That means when disasters happen, storms, floods, wildfires, accidents. My team is the one that coordinates between first responders, dispatch, and county officials. And while I had an office downtown, I also had a secure home setup. Multiple monitors, backup radios, encrypted servers, and yes, a heavy-duty internet connection. Because when an emergency happens, I don't always have time to drive into the office. I need to be able to flip a switch from home and start coordinating. The best part? My home office is discreet. From the outside, my house looks like any other. You'd never know that inside was the nerve center that helped keep thousands of people safe. At least, until Karen showed up. Karen moved into the neighborhood about 6 months after me. And from day one, she treated the place like her personal kingdom. The problem? We didn't even have an HOA. This was a normal suburban street with no association, no board, no rules. But Karen, she printed out flyers calling herself neighborhood president. She made Facebook groups where she told people what color they could paint their houses, when they could put out trash cans, and even how many guests they could have over. Most neighbors ignored her, but a few actually listened, probably to avoid confrontation. Me, I stayed out of it. I had more important things to do, like making sure ambulances reached the right addresses during emergencies. But Karen didn't like being ignored. And eventually, I ended up in her crosshairs. One afternoon, Karen showed up at my front door with her usual smug expression. "Excuse me," she said, crossing her arms. "Those wires on the side of your house are an eyesore. They violate neighborhood appearance standards." I stared at her. "You mean the internet cables?" "Yes," she huffed. "I've decided all exterior wires must be concealed. They make the neighborhood look cheap. I expect you to remove them within the week." I couldn't help but laugh. "Karen, there are no neighborhood appearance standards. We don't have an HOA." That clearly didn't sit well with her. She puffed up like a balloon. As acting president of the neighborhood association, I cut her off. "There is no association. And those wires? They're not just internet. They're part of a secured line for emergency services. I'm not touching them." Karen squinted like I'd just insulted her. "We'll see about that." And with that, she stormed off. I figured that was the end of it. Oh, how wrong I was. It was a Thursday evening when it happened. A storm had rolled in across the county. High winds, heavy rain, trees falling everywhere. Calls were flooding into dispatch. My team was stretched thin, and I was running communications from home. That's when my monitors suddenly went black. Radios dead. Server disconnected. At first, I thought the storm had knocked out the power. But no, the lights were still on. The only thing gone was my internet. I rushed outside, rain soaking me instantly. And there she was, Karen, standing at the side of my house with a smug grin and a pair of garden shears in her hand. At her feet, my severed internet cable lay in the mud. "What the hell are you doing?" I shouted. "Fixing the neighborhood," she said sweetly. "You didn't listen to me, so I handled it myself. No more ugly wires." My heart dropped. "Karen, that wasn't just internet for me. That line is tied to the county's emergency network. Do you realize what you've just done?" But she just smirked. "Maybe next time you'll follow the rules." And with that, she walked off, completely oblivious to the chaos she'd just caused. Inside my house, alarms were going off. Backup systems were trying to reroute, but the damage was already done. My connection to dispatch was severed. The encrypted servers that kept emergency channels secure were offline. I grabbed my phone and called into the main office, letting them know I'd been cut off. Within minutes, they confirmed my worst fear. The network disruption was already causing delays. Ambulances were being rerouted the long way because GPS updates weren't coming through. A fire truck was stuck at a blocked road because the traffic cameras were down. And the storm was only getting worse. This wasn't just inconvenient. This was life-threatening. And all because Karen thought my cables were ugly. I didn't waste time. I called the police, explaining what had happened. At first, they seemed skeptical, until I explained my job title and the fact that tampering with emergency infrastructure is a federal crime. Within 20 minutes, 2 patrol cars pulled up in the rain. I watched from my porch as officers knocked on Karen's door. She opened it with her usual fake smile. "Yes, officers? Can I help you?" They didn't waste time. "Ma'am, did you cut your neighbor's internet line?" She actually admitted it. Of course. It was an eyesore. I'm the neighborhood president, you know. I swear I've never seen cops exchange a look of disbelief faster. "Ma'am," one officer said, "those lines are part of the county's emergency communications. You just interfered with official government operations." Her smile vanished. "That's ridiculous. He's lying. He's just some guy with too many wires." That's when I stepped forward, holding up my county badge. "No, Karen. I'm the Director of Emergency Communications. And thanks to you, ambulances and fire trucks are delayed in the middle of a storm." The color drained from her face. She stammered, I didn't know. I was just trying to enforce the rules." "There are no rules," I snapped. "You could have cost people their lives." Karen was arrested on the spot for criminal mischief and interfering with public utilities. Later, the county prosecutor added charges for tampering with emergency infrastructure, a serious offense that carried possible jail time. The storm cleanup was harder than it needed to be, thanks to the delays she caused. Thankfully, no one died that night, but several rescues were dangerously close to being too late. And every single one of those delays was traced back to the outage she caused. When word got around the neighborhood, people were stunned. Some had gone along with her rules, just to keep the peace. But once they realized she wasn't just bossy, she was dangerous, they cut ties immediately. Her so-called neighborhood association Facebook group? Deleted overnight. Her flyers? Torn down. She went from self-proclaimed queen of the block to social outcast in less than 24 hours. Karen eventually took a plea deal. She avoided serious prison time but had to pay thousands in fines, perform community service, and was banned from contacting me or going near my property again. As for me, the county upgraded my backup systems. Now, even if someone cuts my home line, we've got redundancies to make sure communications never go down again. And the neighborhood? Peaceful once more. No more fake rules, no more flyers, no more power trips. Just people living their lives, finally free of Karen's nonsense. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Simple. Sometimes, people who crave power will invent rules just to feel important. They'll put on a fake badge of authority, print out papers that mean nothing, and act like they're running the world. But at the end of the day, power built on lies always collapses.